This is a podcast for parents deep in the trenches of parenthood, where the coffee is cold, the laundry never ends, and yes, we forgot to take the chicken out the freezer. Again. I'm your host, Natalie Calderon, and every week we're talking real-life parenting. The good, the bad, the sleep-deprived, and the sticky. No judgment, no perfection, just real talk, real laughs, and a reminder that you're not in this alone. This is Defrosted Chicken. Welcome to the table. Let's dig in. All right, guys. So this week, you just get me. I don't have a guest. I did skip a scheduled episode a couple of weeks ago. For those of you that follow me on Instagram, I did go ahead and put a little notice on there just letting everyone know. And here's the reason why. Being a parent is really hard. I don't know if you guys knew, but it's freaking exhausting. And mom life kind of just slapped me in the face, and I was super overwhelmed. I had a lot going on, and I just needed to take a mental health break. So I'm sharing this with you guys because I want you guys to know that it's okay to say, fuck it. I'm not going to do this right now because this is what's best for my mental health. Remember that next time you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling like you just can't. It's okay. It's okay to not record the episode for the podcast. It's okay to not do the dishes that day. It's okay to not fold the laundry. It's okay to not go to dinner with your friends after you said that you were because it's too overwhelming. It's okay to just sit on your couch and do nothing for a whole day or two. It's okay. Nothing's going to happen. The mess will be there when you get back. Take that break, recharge, and keep it pushing because this is a never-ending journey. So no need to rush through it. No need to feel like you have to do it all 24/7. With that being said, we all know that one person on social media, the walking reality show. Every breakup, every meltdown, every watch me cry in real time video, all posted for the world to see. And if you're thinking, wait, do I do that? You might be the main character. But here's the thing. Being too messy online, cringe. Being too perfect, also cringe. Social media is basically one big stage, and no one knows what role to play. So how much sharing is too much? And why does everyone seem either completely unhinged or suspiciously flawless? Let's get into it, because apparently there's no such thing as just being normal on the internet. I want to ask you guys a question, but before I ask you all a question, I'm going to set the scene. Let's close our eyes. Unless you're driving, don't close your eyes if you're driving or you need to have your eyes open while you're listening to me. Just picture this. It's the end of the day. You have a moment to yourself. Your kids are either sleeping or they're just leaving you alone. And you decide, you know what? I'm going to sit on this couch. I'm going to lay on my bed and I'm going to pull out my phone and go on social media. So you do that. You start to scroll, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, whatever your preferred social media is, or all of them. You're scrolling, you're looking. You see posts and reels from people that you know, from people that you don't know, from influencers that you follow, whatever. Now, after you've done this for a while, let me ask you this. Here's the question. Have you ever been scrolling through your social medias and thought, am I even doing enough as a parent? Or am I a good wife? Am I a good husband? Do I have a shitty wife? Do I have a shitty husband? Have you ever thought that before? Now, be honest with yourselves. You don't have to tell anyone what your answer is, but be honest with yourselves. Most people are going to say yes. They may not admit it to other people, but just admit it to yourself. What is my response to this question? Yes, I have definitely found myself sitting there questioning my parenting skills, wondering if I'm a good mother or if I'm doing enough because so-and-so just posted that they do X, Y, and Z with their child every single day. And I'm like, I don't do that. Should I be doing that? Is that something that I should be doing? That looks like it's something good. That looks like that's beneficial. I should probably be doing that, but I don't want to, or I don't have time, or that's just not my thing. And now I'm doubting my parenting skills. I have done that. And I also have found myself kind of just looking at other families and stuff on my feed and just wondering, like, how the hell do they manage to look so put together all the damn time when I'm over here just trying to remember if I brush my teeth today? I mean, I brush my teeth every day, but you know what I mean. I know I'm not the only one. Like I said, whether you want to admit it or not, most of us have these moments. These moments where we start to question ourselves and comparing ourselves and doubting and spiraling. Even though we know it's a highlighted reel, our brains still compare, and it still triggers that feeling of inadequacy. You kind of start to feel like you're falling short as a parent, like you're not doing enough, like you're not measuring up to this invisible standard that social media has set up. And when that starts to happen often, it starts to chip away at your confidence as a parent. And it's kind of hard, I think, to admit that as well, because you may not even notice it at first. You may not even notice it at all, really, because it's something that you see day in and day out. Momfluencer number one, momfluencer number two, dadfluencer number one, dadfluencer number two. They're doing X, Y, and Z with their kids, and they're doing this and they're doing that, and they're able to do this, this, and that. Everything looks so easy, and I'm over here struggling and spiraling. I can't keep my thoughts straight. I'm overstimulated, whatever, right? But I guarantee you, so are these people. But that's not what they're sharing with the world. And that's not what we're being fed. What we're being fed is the picture perfect life. And it makes us feel like that's what we should have and question, why don't we have that? Why don't I have this? Why can't I do this? Because it's not real. These are just small little clips that are perfectly curated to make us think that this is how it should be. But really, that's just not reality. Now, these momfluencers and dadfluencers that have quote unquote made it, and by that I mean, they're getting sponsorships or collabs or getting paid. They're making a significant amount of money by posting these things online. They have to make sure that things are perfect because that's how they're making their money. That's how it all started. So keep that in mind when you're scrolling and you're seeing all these things and you start to compare. Keep in mind that these are just small little clips that people make where they have to put aside the stress, the struggle, etc., because that's not what's getting them paid. Not only is there this pressure now to be a good parent, but you also have to look like one too. You have to make sure that you document every milestone, aesthetic lunchbox, Montessori playroom, and gentle parenting moment for everyone to see, because the world needs to know that you are a great mom or a great dad or a great spouse. Parenting has become content. And that line between real life and performing for social media, it's kind of blurring. Just to be clear, I'm not judging anyone for sharing their beautiful moments with their family. We all do it. I do it. I'm very active on social media. I like to share things that I do. I like to post pictures of my kids and the places we travel to and the cute little moments. I mean, most people do, right? But when you start living for the photo instead of the moment, you really have to ask yourself, who are you really doing this for? And with the rise of the momfluencer and dadfluencer culture, the stakes are even higher. When you start to pressure your family to perform, to get that perfect picture for social media, to capture that quote unquote candid moment, which is not really candid, it's not fun anymore. It's not real. It's kind of cruel to put that pressure on your kids. Take Ruby Frankie, for example. For those of you that don't know who she is, she became well known originally for her YouTube channel called 8 Passengers. And she created this back in 2015. And basically what she was doing is she was sharing her daily life as a stay-at-home Mormon mom of 6 kids. And to the viewers, it looked like a picture-perfect, wholesome family with routines, values, and all of her kids were well-behaved. Her husband was awesome. I mean, everything was perfect. As time went on, she started to build a massive following based on that image. Keyword, my friends, image. It was all an image that she portrayed, right? But for years this happened. The more followers she got, the more money she got, and the less room for imperfection. There is a documentary on Hulu about this, which I did watch. So if you guys want to watch it, there's that. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about it, but If I remember correctly, her husband, well, ex-husband now, said that at their peak, they were bringing in about $100,000 a month. That is a ridiculous amount of money to be getting for sharing your life on the internet. But that's how much money was at stake here. So things started to get a little crazy. Long story short, in 2023, Ruby was arrested and later charged with starvation, isolation, and physical punishment. Her husband claims that he didn't know all of what was going on because apparently the worst of it happened once they separated. But honestly, I don't know. Like, you can't be that blind to all of the things that were happening, but he does speak on the documentary. He did not get arrested for anything or charged with anything. And there are a couple of her kids that actually are on the documentary as well, and they kind of go into detail about some of the things that happened. But one thing that, was pretty sad was that in the documentary, they showed these little unedited clips where she's yelling at her kids, and her kids are telling her that they didn't want to film, that they didn't like it, that they weren't in the mood, or if they weren't happy and cheerful, you could hear her saying that she didn't care if they didn't want to do it. She didn't care if they weren't happy, that they needed to fake it because she was going to record and that they're getting paid for these videos, so they had to do it. So you can see all these little clips, and the whole thing is just wild, and it's really sad, honestly. The scary part about all of this is that it went unnoticed for so long. My point here is, guys, what you see online is not the whole story, even when it looks wholesome and perfect. This is exactly why comparing your real, messy, imperfect parenting to someone else's curated content is so, so dangerous. Sadly, Ruby Frankie's story is not the only one. There are so many cases like this. And there's probably a lot of situations like this right now that nobody knows about. Now, in order to be an influencer, especially a momfluencer or a dadfluencer, there's one thing that is required, and that's to have children. So let's not forget about the kids here. This can be very damaging to your children. There's no privacy. There's unconsented exposure. There's this pressure to perform, and life just starts to become like a performance for them. And in this documentary, they actually interviewed, I want to say, her two oldest kids, and they kind of go into details about all the struggles that they had being front and center in this YouTube channel and having their lives recorded constantly. Her oldest daughter in the documentary doesn't even refer to her as mom anymore. She refers to her as Ruby, which can kind of give you an idea of how strained that relationship became because she got caught up in the fame and the money and the trying to be the perfect mom. And in reality, everything around her was falling apart and she was abusing her children. I mean, it's really sad. And I'm not saying that every situation online is like this, obviously. What I'm trying to say is just to be careful when you start to compare because you don't know the whole story. 8 Passengers was a very popular YouTube channel. Imagine how many parents saw some of these videos and would compare themselves as parents or as spouses to this quote unquote perfect family. Meanwhile, all of this was happening. I see so many comments or reels of people complaining about all these perfectly curated posts and pictures and influencers that they want to see the real struggles of being a parent and being in a marriage and all that stuff. But the minute that somebody says, hey, I'm going to show the less than perfect side of parenting, and the same people who say they wanted honesty show up to criticize. And I have to ask, why is that? Why do we do that? And by we, I don't mean me, but why do people do that? Is it because seeing someone else's realness kind of disrupts the fantasy that we're holding on to? Is it easier to judge someone than to sit with your own discomfort? I really want to know because I find it very hard to sit there and send a comment or a message to someone that I don't know, a complete stranger, and just start saying horrible things to them as if I actually know them or because they made a mistake or because they're being honest. I could never. That's not my energy. That's not my vibe, but to each their own. We all live different lives. We have different circumstances, and I just don't see the point in tearing each other down. We want to see more real stuff, but the moment someone is too real, it's a problem. Do you see what I'm getting at? There's no winning. There's no winning. And I know the solution for some people is to just not have social media or to not interact in social media that often. And that's a great solution. But the reality of it is social media is very, very prevalent in this time. Not only that, if you have a business or a podcast or something that requires you to get customers or listeners, social media is really important to have because this is where most people are at and this is how you're going to get people to listen or to buy what you're selling. Now, you can opt out of it. Like, you know what? I don't want to do social media, so I'm not going to advertise my product on social media. That's definitely an option. But have you guys been on TikTok Shop? I have bought so many things from TikTok Shop or on Instagram from the ads. It actually works. So it's kind of hard to say, well, I'm just not going to be on social media. Depending on what you do for work, I mean, it's nearly impossible to not be on social media. So what can you do? If you've been feeling this pressure lately, if you've been second guessing your parenting because of what you see online, I want you guys to take a deep breath and hear me when I say you are not alone. You are enough. And your kids do not need a perfect parent. They just need you, the way that you are. I mean, unless you're like really shitty as a person, then maybe just change a little. But otherwise, you're good. If you're questioning your parenting, you're probably already a good parent because shitty parents don't question their behavior, okay? Remember, you are enough. Don't let all these little random clips of people's lives take away from your experience as a parent. If this episode hit home for you, send it to another parent who might need to hear it too. So what can we do about all of this if social media is part of our lives? If getting off social media completely is not an option for you, what can you do about this? Well, for starters, let's pay attention to how we're feeling after we scrolled. Then you can curate your feed, not for aesthetics, but for mental health. Because remember, there is an option on your social medias that asks you if you're interested or not interested, if you want to see more of this or less of this. Those are options. Make sure that you follow people who make you feel seen and not small. And remind yourselves daily, if you have to, that someone else's perfect polished moment does not reflect your messy, beautiful real life. And also give yourselves permission to parent off camera. But you don't have to share everything with everyone. Be present instead of perfect. Be enough without the validation of likes or views. And most importantly, when you are on social media and you are looking at the people who are brave enough to be raw and unfiltered, give them grace. Because parenting is hard enough without turning social media into another freaking battlefield, because that's what it feels like sometimes. There's so many moms and dads that go on social media because they want to relate to other moms and dads. That doesn't mean that being a parent has to be your complete identity, right? But let's face it, being a parent, no matter how old your children are, takes up a lot of your time and is a big part of your life. So why make it harder? Why bring each other down? Let's talk statistics really quick before we close off this episode. Did you guys know that the average person worldwide spends 2 hours and 24 minutes a day on social media? That's basically a feature-length film every single day. And some places like Brazil and the Philippines, people are actually spending over 3.5 hours per day online. I mean, at this point, it's not social media. It's basically a part-time job. So let's talk about our teens really quick. This one was interesting. I was a little shocked. The average teenager is spending nearly 5 hours a day on social media. That is literally half a school day. Or like 20 TikTok dance tutorials in a live stream of somebody eating noodles or fitting 10 eggs in their mouth or whatever people are watching nowadays. That's 37% of our teens that are spending 5 hours or more a day on social media. And here's where it gets real. Studies show that teens who spend 5 or more hours on social media daily are more likely to experience anxiety, low self-esteem, and poor body image. Social media is basically a highlight reel of other people's lives. And when you're 14 and insecure, that can hit you hard. If adults go through it, like I discussed in the beginning of this episode, the doom scrolling, right? Comparing your messy Tuesday to someone's perfect vacation in Bali, what do you think is doing to a developing teenage mind? I think it's very important to sit down and talk to our kids about social media because they are on it a lot more than most adults, right? And I think it's important to remind them that what they see on there is not always how it really is. Let them know that it's okay to not look perfect, to not be perfect. Well, my friends, that concludes our episode. This episode is shorter than usual. And well, like I said in the beginning, I've been going through it. This mama has been busy, got a lot going on. And honestly, I'm surprised I got this far and I did this much. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for listening and thank you for your support. If you don't already follow our Instagram page, please go to Defrost the Chicken and give us a follow and let me know what you guys think. Please remind your children that they are perfect just the way they are. It is important that they hear it from us because social media plays such a big role in their lives these days. Now, I'm going to close off with a quote, and this one is by Theodore Roosevelt. It's short and sweet, and it says, "Comparison is the thief of joy." Until next time, my friends, happy parenting.